Alrighty, let's talk about the top 10 car and or racing movies. And for clarification, because it's my list and I can do this, there will be no Fast and Furious, so Dom and his family. There won't be any documentaries because the list would be too long, and I would, no documentaries. It's got to be either biopics or fictional movies, and I think those are the only rules. So as always, these are arbitrary, and they're from my memory. It has to be a movie I've seen. So Vanishing Point didn't make the cut. The original Gone in 60 Seconds didn't make the cut because those are two movies I have not seen. Let's just dive right in, and as usual, these are in no particular order. So here we go. Number 1, Rush. Ron Howard's James Hunt, Niki Lauda epic. I don't remember James Hunt. I do remember Niki Lauda. Niki Lauda was involved in racing. I think he was sort of a team manager or something when I started watching Formula One in the late 80s and early 90s. And of course, right up until he died here, where he had been advising Ferrari and he had been advising Lewis Hamilton. So I always admired the fact that after the crash, he got back in the car and continued to race for several years. I mean, he won a world championship with McLaren in the 80s. So, it's the real dude. So I love the fact that that movie showed so much of things I had heard about Niki Lauda but had never actually seen before. And, Ron Howard makes a good movie. What can I say? So I'm a sucker for a tearjerker, and it was a good movie. Even though I was not a James Hunt guy. I knew very little about him. I knew he had been a Formula One champion, and that's about it. Number 2 on my list, The Last Chase. This movie was from 1981, I think. Burgess Meredith, Lee Majors, Porsche 91730, and an F-86 Sabre. It was a stupid movie, just sort of a dystopian, all the gasoline's gone, there are no cars left, but there's this one Porsche and this one racing driver, and he tries to drive out of the containment zone to the free part of America after some apocalyptic, I think just the oil ran out. I don't even think it was a nuclear war, but so they're going from place to place, just siphoning the last few inches out of the bottom of ground tanks, and it's just a really stupid, silly movie, but I was really young when I saw it, and it features a Porsche 91730, so, yeah. Next on the list, Le Mans. Yeah, Steve McQueen. Great movie. Not really. It's very dated. I own a copy on DVD, and it is very much a product of its era as a movie, as a narrative movie goes. But the filming and what they did to create those scenes and some of the footage that's in that movie are just incredible. And there's not a lot else I can say about them. It's just, visually, it's stunning. Even if, it's very much from a narrative point of view, it's sort of that dividing line between artistic cinema and popcorn movies, and it is very much on the artistic cinema, or tried to be on the artistic cinema side of the wall there. And just because it's so old, and I was born in the 70s and grew up in the 80s, to me that movie is sort of ancient, even though I can appreciate it for what it is. But it did make the list, so there's that. Next, it's Twin, Grand Prix, starring James Garner. Again, very much a movie of its era, but just, cinematically, there's a lot of great stuff in that movie. There's great scenes, and to know how they filmed it, some of the technical aspects of how they filmed that stuff, just really makes it stand out over the years. Because really, Le Mans and Grand Prix are alone in being great racing movies from that era. Next on the list, Talladega Nights. Yeah, I know, it's stupid, it's goofy, it's silly, but it is It is very NASCAR. It is so NASCAR, it's terrifying. To me, Talladega Nights is more NASCAR than Days of Thunder is, which, by the way, Days of Thunder did not make the cut. Let me just put that out there. Sorry, just a little too much Bruckheimer there. What else can I say about Talladega Nights? It was really funny. I mean, that's the thing. Talladega Nights was the first time in a long time that I went to a movie theater to see a comedy. I had basically quit spending movie money on comedies because comedy translates well on the small screen. Some things you need to see in big epic scope, you know, your big sci-fi type movies, they really need to be seen. Your big huge war epics, they need to be seen on the big screen. Comedy translates perfectly to television. So usually I didn't go to movies to see comedies, but I went to see Talladega Nights because I thought it was going to be good, and it was. What's next? Okay, Bullet. Now, Bullet as a movie is not really about the cars, but it's got one of the iconic car chases of all time in it. The Mustang versus the Charger. You know, that car is iconic for a reason, and that scene is iconic for a reason. And it's just, it's one of the great chase scenes in the history of movies, and so it had to make the list. Next, Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, so, what can I say? Hal Needham, Burt Reynolds, Trans Am, jumping over creeks, Jackie Gleason. It's a fun, stupid movie. It is a really stupid movie, but, you know, lots of practical stunts and chase scenes, and just, when I was a kid, this was a movie I could watch over and over again. And I love that Trans Am. Everybody loves that Trans Am. Let's be real about it. In a similar vein, next on the list is Cannonball Run. Cannonball Run, another Hal Needham, Burt Reynolds special. Just, you know, again, not a great movie. It's not a great movie. I'm not gonna lie about that. But this movie was my introduction to the Lamborghini Countach. I love the fact that Roger Moore was in it, playing up a spoof of the James Bond character. I love the fact that, you know, it was just a stupid, goofy movie where Burt Reynolds and his friends could act silly and drink for a couple of weeks while they were filming. And also, let me be real about it, Adrienne Barbeau in the Lamborghini. I mean, I wasn't quite at puberty age yet, but yeah, that movie, it left an indelible impression on a very young me. Where was I? The Road Warrior, Mad Max Part 2, whatever you want to call it. A movie that my parents were questionable about whether I could see in 1984 or 85 when it was on VHS. They were concerned about whether or not I should watch the movie because of the level of violence. And I'm not going to lie, the damn movie gave me nightmares. It did. But that supercharger on Max's Pursuit Special, even though it is highly impractical to have a clutched blower of that type, a clutched roots blower on a car, is just, I don't even know if it's, I mean, I guess it's probably, I'm an engineer and I should know this, it's probably mechanically feasible, but it's a dumb idea. But in a movie, it looks good, especially in a movie about a post-apocalyptic wasteland where gasoline is so valuable. You've got a supercharged V8 on a car. But at least you had the decency to put a clutch on the supercharger so you could turn it on and off. Yeah, it's a stupid movie conceit, but again, that car is iconic, and the chase scenes in that movie and the practical stunts that they did with those vehicles, even though some of that film was undercranked and then sped up, it's still really, really incredible. And again, I was like 10 years old the first time I saw it, and it gave me nightmares, but those images stuck with me. You know, you had a freaking pro wrestling tag team take their gimmick from that movie and run with it for another 20 years or so. You can't make this stuff up. That's a movie that makes an impression on people. And last but not least, I think I'm at 10, The Blues Brothers. Yeah, I know, The Blues Brothers is not a car movie, but the mall chase, the chase through the city, and the enormous pileup of the police cars, those three scenes are enough to get this movie on the list because those are iconic car moments. Yeah, and also you got James Brown and Shaka Khan and John Lee Hooker and Aretha Franklin in the movie, and Carrie Fisher too, and John Candy. But really, it's about the cop car, the Mount Prospect police car, the Bluesmobile, and its magical powers, where it can do backflips in the air. They can outrun all the cops in the city and then fall apart at the last minute when it's not needed anymore. The chase through the mall, the Pier 1 imports, the Toys R Us. It's a great scene. And, we got sunglasses on. It's 100 miles. We got half a tank of gas, a pack of cigarettes. It's dark and we're wearing sunglasses. It's the Blues Brothers. What else can I say? So that's my list. Tell me what you think about it. Feel free to get in the comments and slug it out. Be nice. But otherwise, I want to hear what you have to say about it. Thanks.